All right, so we're still on section 6.2. So now we're just going to go over just one question here. And what this theorem is stating, you can call it your parallel transversal theorem, although we'll figure out a name for this one together in class. But if we can't come up with a name, you can always just describe it. But what this is saying is if three or more parallel lines cut off congruent segments of one transversal, meaning here we have three parallel lines, and each of these segments are congruent. So to let me know that it's cutting congruent segments on this one transversal, because this is our transversal. All right, I'll highlight it in green or yellow. This is our transversal. All right, so we have three or more parallel lines that are cutting that transversal into congruent segments. Then that means they cut off congruent segments on every transversal. So that means on this other side here, this other transversal, since these segments are congruent, it means that BD is congruent to DF. All right, so it just guarantees that all the segments are congruent. So maybe we can call this the parallel congruent segment theorem. All right, but we're going to use this in a question real quick. So here it tells us that all these lines are parallel. That gives it to us on our drawing, and it tells us in the directions. And then it tells me that AB is congruent to BC and it's congruent to CD. So it tells me all of these are congruent to each other. So now based on that theorem, since one of the transversals are cut into congruent segments, it means the other transversal is also cut into congruent segments. So I can then say that these are all congruent to each other. Right? It tells me that EF is 2.25. It tells me that all of these are equal to 2, but we don't really need that. All we need is this is 2.25. So since they're all congruent, we want to solve for EH. Right? So now that's where you have to be aware. EH is EF plus FG plus GH is equal to EH. That is our segment addition postulate, where all the three segments add up to the whole. And each one of these are 2.25. So 2.25 plus 2.25 is equal to EH. So that means that EH is equal to 6.75. All right, so the whole segment is equal to 6.75. Did you have to write this out? No. You could have just said, well, I know all these are the same, so you could have just said 3 times 2.25 and gave me 6.75. That would work as well. All right, either one. And that's it for this video, and that's it for this section. Now moving on to section 3.